My name is Herta Myers. I'm Renee's younger sister. I was born 2 years after her in 1935. When I was a little girl, I was the only deaf child in our town. In our family, there were several deaf people like me going back a few generations, including both our parents, our mother, Henrietta, and our father, Julius. We communicated using sign language. Renee. We grew up in Bratislava, the capital of what was then called Czechoslovakia. Many years after World War II, Czechoslovakia was split into 2 independent states, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. Back then, Bratislava was a city of 120,000 people, including 15,000 Jews. In 1939, when the Nazis occupied our city, most of our country was renamed the Slovak Republic, which was then controlled by Germany. Many ethnic Germans lived in and around Bratislava. Jews living in Bratislava's more elegant neighborhoods were ordered to leave their homes and move into what was called the Old Town, which was a ghetto for the poor. That was where my family began living, in an apartment on the 4th floor of an old 4-story brick building. In warm weather, my sister and I grew peas by wrapping them in wet cotton balls. We put the balls into little pots of soil on the windowsill and watched over the next few weeks as pea tendrils sprouted and curled up around the iron railings of the window. From our window, we could also peer down in the evening and see our father returning from his office. Because the Nazis forbade Jewish children from attending school, I did not start my formal education until after the war, when I was almost 12 years old. By then, the only subject I didn't have to catch up on was reading, which my father had started teaching me when I was 5 years old. I remember how much joy I felt when my parents gave me several books for my 5th birthday. That year, my mother was often annoyed with me because I never answered when she called me. My nose was always buried in my books. Herta. Our parents were intelligent people, but because they could not hear, they did not attend a typical college. Instead, they went to the Vienna School for the Deaf. After graduating, my father became a master jeweler, and my mother worked as a dressmaker. Renee. Once the Nazis occupied Bratislava in 1939, they regularly entered the homes of Jews and forced them to turn over their jewelry and silverware. Because my father was an expert jeweler, the Slovak firm he worked for ordered him to melt down the stolen silver and use it to make chalices and crosses for local churches. I remember him coming home with designs for these objects and looking so sad.